Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So I want you to picture your least favourite map in your head and jot it down in the comments below. Now chances are most of you didn't pull out the likes of King's Row or Dorado or anything like that. I imagine we'll see some control. I know I'd throw Ilios down there for example, but I'm guessing that the majority of the picks would be the likes of Volskaya, Hanamura and Temple of Anubis. What do these maps share in common? Well, they're assault maps, and I don't think many of us really enjoy playing them. Also, as we are writing this, news came out that the MLG Vegas tournament, which is a $1,000 prize pool that is happening in a few weeks, will have a preset map draft, meaning that we're going to see a lot more of these maps as well. We'll go over why that may be a problem further into the video. But generally, it boils down to this. Not many of us really enjoy playing these maps. But why?
Every time we speak to pros, other content creators, and even our friends, the capture point maps tend to be the ill-favored. Once we see the map loading for ranked and see that it's one of the 3 assault maps, there tends to be a rather long sigh or noises of frustration. Why? Well, the game mode is a long and laborious process that can end in one team absolutely stomping the other or a painfully pointless draw. The defending team's spawn being right next to the second point means that stalling mechanics are prevalent, and frankly it's horrible for both sides to deal with. Finally, the main choke points for all 3 maps are tied to breakthrough. Overwatch has always been praised for its quick dynamic playstyle, but we've always felt that the assault maps have been a little bit off and just a step in the wrong direction compared to the other game modes.
The changes that came with Season 2 for Ranked Assault were pretty effective. It created a time bank system where instead of who did it quicker like the pro scene was doing at the time, if you did it quickly and the other team completed the map, you would go again with the time that was left. This would mean that each team would have their full 8 minutes of time to use, but the problem with that is because of how the game mode plays, draws could be extremely common, and it definitely feels like you've wasted 20 minutes of your day in a grueling and horrid game mode. In every opportunity I've seen, unless it's forced, pro teams have actively avoided the capture maps instantly when it came to map bans. As we said before, MLG are now forcing these maps into play, and the general consensus is that people would just rather play payload maps over this game mode. But the issue that we need to underline here is that these maps and game modes have been in the game for over a year now, including the closed beta, and very little has changed, yet people still don't enjoy them. Another reason why I wanted to bring this up now is because we've seen new payload maps added into the game since launch, and recently we've seen Oasis make its way onto the PTR. Now imagine if Oasis was a 2 capture point assault map. People would be furious. But that also raises the question, would we see any more capture point maps? We've not seen any major changes to how they work. And if so, when are we going to see them, and are we actually going to be happy about it?
So are there some ways to fix this that don't include just grabbing a digger tractor and giving the map a full makeover? There are suggestions for minor changes that would kind of address this to some degree that we've seen around on various subreddits and forums, and most of these revolve around tweaking various values and numbers around how the game mode works and how it is scored. Basically, if the score is tied at 1-1 on Temple of Anubis right at the end, but one team has actually managed to capture 2/3 of the final points and the other team just 1/3, then that would be enough to decide the difference between one team winning and the other losing. The system would have to change a little bit and also be very clear with this, but it's a decent idea I guess, since capturing the last point is a lot harder than capturing the first one, and actually getting some progress basically doesn't matter a lot of the time. Another thing that would maybe address or fix this to some degree is increasing the speed of the capture progress for the second point, which would just allow for the attacking team to actually have a chance to capture the full point, even if they don't wipe the entire enemy team all at once. Alternatively, you can maybe up the spawn time for the defending team, but that would also maybe feel a little bit unfair to some degree, and it would also add to the downtime of the game, which would make it feel a little bit more slow. So yeah, it's hard to say what would actually work, but these are some suggestions. These suggestions though are just the minor changes and the tweaks, and it'll kind of prevent stalling mechanics and that sort of thing from happening. Well, at least from happening as much.
And from Miska's point about stalling, another thing to do would be to move the spawns back from the second capture point. I feel it isn't just assault maps that suffer from this. Eichenwald still has problems with the defender straight out onto the point of spawn problem too. And Hollywood used to be like that, but some extra track was added to make leaving the spawn a little bit longer than it once was, and it definitely feels a lot better. Of course you want to make sure that the end of a map has an advantage for the defending team, but it feels a little bit too crazy when it comes straight out of spawn. Another thing would be a closer spawn for the defending team when it comes to defending point A, but I worry that that would give the advantage to the defending team more. Let us know how you would fix the game modes down in the comments below.
All in all, CP, capture point, or assault maps as they're called, are just looked at in a sort of negative way. Most people tend to prefer the payload or control maps, so it just makes sense that these are tweaked just a little bit more to make them a little bit better. They're not absolutely terrible, and we've seen some really good games on Hanamura even in high level competitive play on esports type of level, but Volskaya has had problems for a long time. Temple of Anubis was a really heavily hated map in the beta actually, and still these maps aren't quite as good as some of the other, at least in our opinion. Let us know what you think in the comments below for sure, but we think this is an important topic to bring up, especially as it is such a big part of the game in the end.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Again, do let us know what you think of the capture point maps and how you would personally fix them. And do you think they're as much of a problem that we should take them out of ranked play altogether? But until next time, take care. We'll see you then.